Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the Fandom Academy podcast. Today is a big day. We got a new Mando episode. We have a new episode of The Last of Us. We have Chris Evans content. Oh, we've been waiting. And as always, I'm your host, CJ. I am joined by my co hosts, Layla and Jaden. How are you two doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited to talk about Mando. This is the first time we're getting to talk about it. Even though it came out last week, I've been so excited to talk about it all week. And obviously The Last of Us was a great episode this week. And I'm excited to talk about Chris Evans. Because who isn't?
Yeah, I'm doing good too. I'm gonna have to start putting my AC on soon. It's been really hot here. This TV's had a lot of sexy men on it in the last couple weeks, especially with that Ghosted trailer. So
Real.
let's get it going.
And today we are joined by fellow Chris Evans enthusiast and one of my favorite friends, Aisha. Aisha, welcome to the Fandom Academy podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk Chris Evans.
There is no one I'd rather have on here to talk about Chris Evans, and let's get into that. Today, it was like what, noon o'clock, oh, whatever it was. I was chilling. I was just relaxing in the nice weather today, and all of a sudden, my phone starts buzzing. I was like, I look at it. The Ghosted trailer dropped, but at the time, I saw it on Twitter, and Twitter was down and no media, so I was frantic for a solid 30 seconds finding it, but I'm so glad that I did. This trailer was everything. Chris Evans, man, and Ana de Armas have insane chemistry. We're getting a great movie, another one with them. This one looks like a rom-com. It looks like a lot of fun. Aisha, what is your first reaction from this trailer?
I mean, any Chris Evans content has me hyped.
No, for real.
It's an action rom-com as expected. It's full of chaos and fun. Just it's hard to explain because all the emotions are just like out there and just like this. So exciting to see Chris back in a rom-com. See Ana de Armas in a rom-com. I think she's been in a rom-com. I don't really recall, but it's nice to see the duo back for a third film.
Oh my god, it's so exciting. And Layla, what are you thinking of Ghosted?
I was so baffled when I was watching the trailer because I literally knew nothing about this movie, and I thought it was just gonna be like Chris and Anna like having like a little rom-com moment, be like a really sweet film. And then they bust into all this action, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is where we're going with this. This is what I want to see. Obviously, we've seen Anna in like a very actiony role in The Grey Man, and she slayed in that. So seeing her in more of these roles is gonna be great, but also see like the rom-com side of her. Chris Evans looks great. She looks great. This is going to be my new bisexual panic movie.
Oh, 100%. Bisexuals around the world, we are praying for you. Yeah. And Jaden, what did you think of this trailer and what are you expecting from this movie?
I expect it to be a really good fucking movie, honestly. And just aside from the fact that the two stars are probably two of the hottest people alive, it's gonna be a wild ride. Honestly, I feel like I fantasized about those two being in like a romantic situation for so long, and the fact that I'm finally gonna see that on screen, it's just like, whoa, too much. But yeah, no, I think it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm hyped for it for sure.
We have been teased with them being a romance for so long. Their chemistry in Knives Out, that scene at the restaurant, oh my god. I've been waiting for this. We've needed this. And every time I see Chris Evans on my screen, I just feel like a little kid. I just get so giddy. I love that man. He is my everything. And I'm so excited for this movie. It's only 2 months away. I think it releases April 21st. So we're already close to it. I'm so excited. And this is going to be a great movie to kick off the summer season. And speaking of great movies, we had a really, really good movie released this past week in Creed 3. No one else here saw it, right?
No, I didn't.
No.
So I'll carry this conversation, but it was so good. This movie, speaking of carrying, Jonathan Majors is phenomenal. Every single movie you put him in, he will excel. I feel like he's the best actor in the game right now. I don't know if there's anyone who brings as much passion and emotion to projects as he does. I've said this before in here, I think, but every time he says a word, you're thinking about that word, but you're also holding your breath, waiting for the next one to come out. It's just the way he does is hypnotizing. And when you add Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson into that mix as well, it's just an insane experience. This movie had so much. And for Michael B. Jordan's directing debut, he understands it, man. He just gets it. The lighting, there was this one shot in the final sequence or the final fight, that I was literally, I gasped. I was like, oh my gosh. Because that's such a level of excellence to get in your first debut. I cannot wait to see what he does. I almost want him to start getting more projects, like more and more. I would love to see him get a Black Panther type project, or maybe he gets the Wakanda show that's going on Disney Plus in a couple years. Like that would be really cool. And I'm not sure if there's a director tied to that yet, but just seeing more Michael B. Jordan and more Jonathan Majors across anywhere would be great for me, and I need that in my life.
Absolutely.
But outside of that, we also had great episodes of The Mandalorian. Me and Jaden and Layla have seen the first 2 episodes. Aisha's only seen the first. But Layla, I'll start with you because this is your man in the continued era of Pedro Pascal. What did you think of these first 2 episodes?
I said this in our previous episode, but I have been waiting for Mando and Grogu to be back on my screen for what feels like forever. You know that's my man. Mando is my man. And just like having The Last of Us and The Mandalorian going on at the same time, I'm like, they did this for me. Like, this is my time. And just seeing them back and seeing them in their little universe and just, oh, the vibes. Just, I can't even put it into words how excited it made me. Episode 1 was incredible, but episode 2 was even more incredible, and I'm just getting even more and more hyped, because if it just keeps getting better every week, I'm not gonna survive these 8 episodes. And Din looks great. Oh, that armor. Like, I actually go insane every time I look at him. And Bo-Katan, my mother,
Ooh.
she is everything. And we were talking about this before we started recording, but if they carry on to have their little feud, I don't care who wins. I need them both to win or them both to lose, because I
No,
will
for
support
real.
both of them. I'm gonna be a child of divorce all over again. Like, this is my civil war, and I am not surviving this at all. But Grogu is like the cutest he has ever been. Like, I was literally staring at him, I was like, oh my god, that's my son. Like, he's back, and he's so cute. And just having everyone back. And Pelly, my queen, so happy to have her back. I'm so glad she was in the first episode. And I'm just so excited to see people to see the second episode and just be as obsessed with it as we are.
Jaden, what are you thinking?
I thought it was a lot, you know, it's been heavily anticipated. I've been waiting for The Mandalorian for, like everybody else, since forever, it feels like. So the fact that it's finally here, it's just like, it feels unreal, especially because we're just finishing The Last of Us, and it's just like Pedro fucking everywhere, and I love it. I will say the first episode was a tad underwhelming for me, but at the end of the day, it was Mandalorian, it was Grogu, it was absolutely, you know, it was everything I would have wanted for those 2. Second episode was awesome as well. Definitely better than the first, I would say. I do want to say this one thing, though. They really broke our necks with the whole Babu Freak stuff. I really thought we were about to get Babu Freak in that shit, and it just didn't happen.
Me too.
I was like, what the hell is this? But it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. We'll move past it. Whatever.
I really love these first 2 episodes. Like, I agree with you, Jaden. The second one was definitely better than the first. I honestly think the second one might be one of my favorite episodes of Mando ever. It was that good. But this season is giving off mega Clone War vibes. I'm only through like halfway through season 4. I'm almost towards the end. And this season just feels a lot like that vibe and that similar exploration of the galaxy. And I could not be more excited about that. Plus, seeing all these people back, it just brings me so much joy. Seeing Carl Weathers back as Grief was great. Hearing Taika's voice as the droid, I forget his name, was kind of fun. It was just like a fun little blink you'll miss it moment. Yeah, love him. And just like Pelly being back, and yes, Grogu is everything. And I think I'm with you on this, but except I'm gonna go even a little bit further on the Bo-Katan and Din war. If they go to war, I love you, Din, and I love you, Grogu, but Bo-Katan is everything. That woman is priceless to me. I'm Team Bo-Katan all the way. I don't care how evil she gets. I will sit here and defend her every action.
Mm-hmm.
Katie is incredible, and I cannot wait to see what the arc. But Aisha, you've only seen the first episode, so what are you thinking after only seeing this first episode?
I mean, it's been like, what, since 2020, since we got the series back, and just more adventures of Mando and Grogu, like, come on. I'm not a huge Star Wars expert, but, like, don't we love seeing our father and son duo back and explore new adventures, and then now Mando going back to Mandalore to explore his homeland, you know? Great stuff.
Very,
I can't wait
it's
to see
very
episode 2.
exciting to see. And Jaden, I'm gonna go to you on this one since me and Layla have both kind of touched on it. The dynamic between Bo-Katan and Din seems to be the center of this season. What do you make of their relationship, and what do you think it will evolve to be?
I think it's interesting. I think Din's gonna go through a lot, mentally and emotionally in this particular season, only because I think he's really gonna kind of finally see what Bo-Katan's been trying to tell him about, like, his past and about the culture that he follows, and he's gonna have to choose. I think he's gonna have to choose the battles that he fights, very carefully in this season, and that's gonna be super interesting to see. I do think we're gonna see some Bo and Din action. That's gonna be tough because I love them both just as much as you do. So I don't know. That's gonna be tough. I couldn't even tell you who I think would take the helm on that one, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a lot of action, a lot of emotional stuff. But yeah.
And Aisha, since you've only seen the first episode, what do you make of their relationship so far? And do you think it'll come to blows, or do you think it'll remain civil?
Oof. Oh man. I mean, there was tension. There was tension, and honestly, it can go both ways. And I'm excited to see which way it goes, because who knows what's gonna happen between them? Because it's Star Wars.
Totally. And when you look at the first episode too, there were some teases about maybe some connectivity to those Clone Wars and to the Rebel series. One of which was the elephant, or like the whales. I don't know why I said elephants. The whales we saw in hyperspace, or like whatever those creatures were, that scared Grogu a little bit, which created a really cute moment, by the way. We love Grogu and we love Dan. But do we think we'll get any characters like Ezra or Chopper or maybe Sabine in this series? Layla, I'll go to you.
I said this on Twitter, but I 100% think we'll see Sabine. And obviously I want them all back because, I think Ahsoka's going to touch on Rebels a lot. But bringing them into the show and kind of just, like, introducing them in live action, I'm not going to survive these episodes. But out of anyone, I think it will be Sabine. And seeing I think they're called Purgils, like the big octopus things that Din and Grogu saw in space. It made me laugh because there's a scene, I think it's in like season 2, where Grogu's like eating like the squid out of his soup, and you just know he was thinking about eating them, like when they were in the ship. Like, I want to eat these things. But yeah, I think Sabine will be the one that we see. I want to see all of them back because I miss them all so much and I need them in live action as soon as possible. And I think it could be really interesting going back and kind of exploring Bo-Katan's like journey with the Darksaber and how she gained it in those shows and just bringing that to the live action world. Oh, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think just because of the Mandalore collection, I think Sabine is probably the one we're most likely to get. But speaking of Mandalore, Jaden, I'll go to you. Mandalore is explored heavily in a couple of seasons of the Clone Wars, actually a lot of it. And there's so much lore there. What do you expect when we go back?
I don't know. I think because there's a lot of things going into it now about, he's like, I'll make sure it's not poisoned. I'll prove it to you guys. There's a lot of things going against him going to this planet. And like I said, he's going to find out a lot of things about his past and about his ancestors and stuff like that are really going to he's going to have to be like, shit, is that moral? Or are we, is this really where I come from kind of thing? It's going to be tough for him to digest, I feel like. But I think we're going to get a lot of really cool connections and stuff to the Clone Wars, definitely.
For sure. And to tie up our episode 1 discussion, there was a lot of cool moments. Layla, what was your favorite of the episode?
Honestly, just seeing Grogu with those little, who we thought were Babu Frick. Like, it's just such like a tiny thing, but he's just so cute. And I'm like one of those bitches who will be like, yeah, I watched this for Grogu. Yeah, I watched this for Mando. Grogu's too cute. I don't care that it's like a basic bitch thing to find Baby Yoda cute. I don't care. He's the cutest thing ever, And just seeing them back together. Like, and, okay, actually, no. My favorite moment was Din leaning against that fucking tree in his armor in that little pose that he does. I was like, I know what you are. I know what you're trying to do. I know what Star Wars is trying to do by showing me that. You're trying to make me go insane, and they succeeded. That was my favorite moment.
They did it just for you, Layla.
I agree with you. I was gonna say that was.
Just to me.
They did it just
I was gonna say the same exact moment. The moment he looks at those pirates with that pose, and he's not saying anything, but under that mask, he's just like, "Be so for real." Like he was looking at those pirates, he was like, "Y'all gotta be joking." And that was my favorite moment of the episode, because even when they did try him, he just like wiped them all out with like one fell swoop. And you love to see it. And the pirates got involved later in the episode. Maybe we see them again. Maybe we don't. I don't know. I think that potentially might have been hinting towards maybe a Hondo appearance later in this show, which would be really fun since he has that connection to the pirates. But Jaden, I'll go to you first, and then Aisha. What are you guys' favorite moments of the show?
I guess my favorite moments is just seeing Din be like a legit dad. Like he is such a dad in this, like especially like he's really leaning into it too. He's like, no, don't touch that. No, that's bad. Grogu, stop. Get down. Stop. Just like stuff like that. It's like the spinning the chair. He's like, Grogu, come on. It's just so funny, their dynamic, those two. And it's so cute. I love it.
Oh man, I mean, I have to agree that when Din was against that wall, I was like, woo!
I'm gonna need a minute.
Wow. Like also the opening sequence of like all the Mandalorian like fighting that giant creature, I was like, holy cow! And then when Din and Grogu treated, I was like, what else? And that scene where when like Mando's like cross-legged and they're fixing what's his face? What's his name? What's the boss name?
IG-11.
IG-11.
IG-11. And Grogu like hugs. I lost it. That was like adorable, but so funny.
Such a good moment. Din and Grogu are everything to us. We love Din and Grogu.
Another one of my favorite moments was when they were like in that little space battle with the pirates, and Grogu like straps himself into Din with the like cross thing he wears, and he's just like, okay, putting my seatbelt on, but his seatbelt is just Din. Like, I just found that really funny. It was really cute.
I need them together forever. And with Jon Favreau kind of playing with the time fields a little bit, we might be closer to the sequel trilogy than we thought, which creates some interesting dynamics that could rise up as we maybe see maybe a certain Spice Runner start being hinted at appearing in the series, which, Layla, I'm going to go to you on this theory. Would you survive?
No.
No. Just no.
Do you think I would? Is that a question? No. Don't be silly now. Obviously, I would love to see it. I think it's unlikely. Silly. I do not think it's likely, but you will never hear from me again. That's it.
Jaden, what are your opinions on Poe Dameron potentially showing up in the series, maybe with Zori by his side? What do you think?
I would literally have a fucking heart attack. I have been deprived of Poe for far too fucking long. I need that man on my screen one more time. At least. Please. Make it happen. God.
I just got really hot all of a sudden.
I do, seriously. I'm like, I gotta take my sweatshirt off. This is getting crazy.
I'm gonna need a minute.
I completely agree. Poe Dameron was easily my favorite character of the sequel trilogy. I feel like he was the only one that was like him and Finn, but Finn kind of got written out in a poor way. But I feel like those were the only people that I really connected with in that trilogy. So seeing either of them back would just like make my life. Aisha, is there anyone else from the sequel trilogy that you would just be mind would just blow up if you saw?
I mean, I have to agree. If you see Oscar Isaac again.
Just give me Oscar Isaac
I would just
everywhere.
Yeah.
My glasses are fogging up.
I'm literally sweating. I'm literally sweating.
What the takes
I need.
You can just see the setting now.
I need a moment to breathe, guys.
You just see the setting now. Oscar Isaac arrives on Mandalore. Din has just redeemed himself. But he sees Oscar. He looks into his eyes. Is like, I
And
can't
they
keep
kiss.
coming on it. Rips it off.
And they kiss, they make out.
Yes.
They have to go back down to the water.
Listen. If they can't make Finpo canon, at least make Dinpo canon.
It's so cannon! Oh,
We want
oh,
Denpo.
Dinpo.
The fandom would never be able to handle that.
No.
No.
And see, that's something so many people I feel like would be mad about. But I'm just here, just like, give it to me.
Give it
Give
to
it
me.
to me.
Seeing, we've
Wow.
been deprived of Pedro and Oscar being in things since my favorite movie, Triple Frontier, 2019. That was the last time and only time they've been in a TV show or movie together, and they've been best friends for like 10 years. And I'm just like, get them in more things. I don't know what's not computing in like studio brains. Just put them in everything together. Like, you will make so much money from this, please.
If you put them in a movie together, you are guaranteed at least 1 million watches from this lady
Yes.
alone. So please
Me.
just do it.
Yeah,
I will pay all of your bills. Just me. Like, come on.
all box office sales is just
It's just me.
Well, to get this train back on the tracks and to keep this hype train for Pedro going, let's get into The Last of Us. This episode was crazy. I'm going to go in a circle starting with you, Layla. What was your favorite moment and what did you think of The Last of Us episode 8?
I don't think it's possible to have a favorite moment from this show because it was all just soul destroying. But if I had to pick, it would be the scene where Joel gets his little knife, shoves it into this guy's fucking kneecap, and he's just like interrogating these two
Mafia
guys because
style.
he does that in the game. That is one of my favorite scenes from the game because it's just so brutal, and you're just like, yes, that is my man. And that little smirk he did after he pulled that knife out, I was just like, fuck my life. This is what I've been waiting for. As soon as they cast Pedro in this role, I was like, fuck, I need to find like all the hot Joel Miller scenes that I can like imagine him being in, and that was one of them that I looked forward to the most. And here we are. We got it. It's beautiful. But this episode, no, I cried. Like, the first time I watched it, I literally had to sit in silence in a dark room for like an hour and just like compile my thoughts because I was just destroyed. But Bella is incredible. I need them to
Get
get
Bella
every
all
single
the
award
awards.
they're eligible for. Pedro was just kind of laying there a lot of the time, but you know, he looked good laying on that mattress, so we'll give him a pass for that. But yeah, I love this episode so much. It's one of my favorites of the whole season, and they executed it incredibly well.
Jaden, what for you? What is your favorite?
My favorite moment was actually after that moment that Layla was just talking about, and when he finally was kind of reunited with Ellie. That moment, like literally, I feel like there was so much violence, so much just rage, and like and then it just like calms out. I got you, baby girl, he says. I'm like, literally, I passed out. It was so good, so good. The acting in this was so good. I can't.
There was a comment made by... Yeah, there was a comment made by... I think it was either Craig or Neil, I'm not sure which, on the Last of Us podcast, and he said, and then she just looks at him, talking about Ellie and Joel, right in the eye, and she leans forward and hugs him, and all he can say is the thing he hasn't said in 20 years, which is baby girl, which is what he called his daughter. And when I read that, I started crying.
I'm about
Anyways,
to cry, Loki. Don't do that.
I
to me
hate
right
this
now.
show.
I fucking hate it. God, turn it off. Cancel
This
I hate it so
episode.
much.
Don't do that. No, let's not do that. But yes, I do hate this show. This episode continues the trend of we can't have happy things. We can have nice things. We can have good things. We can have happy things. This episode, at its heart, is an episode about Ellie having to go on her own and embracing the fact of being on her own more kind of like for the first time and having to deal with this threat that in the first few episodes Joel would deal with, or ahead of time weren't really an issue because she was in the QZ. So her journey in this episode was crazy, and Bella obviously does a great job. They're incredible. My favorite moment from this episode, I think, was when Ellie is in the jail cell, and she breaks his finger, and the guy walks away. The priest walks away. The creepy Christian walks away, and he looks at her, or she looks at him, and says, "Ellie, you tell them the girl that broke your finger's name
The
is
girl
Ellie."
that broke your fucking finger!
And I was just like, you fucking go. I was like, that fucking ruled. That was an all-time show moment for Ellie for me. That was maybe my favorite Ellie moment for this entire series so far. I almost stood up out of my chair and just like started jumping up and down. I was like, hell yes. And we see this aggression that's been building in Ellie. You know, we saw her hurt someone for the first time a couple episodes ago, but now you see it really build up in her and really like get to the point where she knows she has to, and she's just like brutal, just like Joel. We see her reach that point where she brutally murders people. And at the end of the episode, like when Jaden was talking about, when she goes back to Joel and he says, "It's okay, baby girl," you see that kind of hit her. So I feel like in the next couple of episodes, we're going to the next episode.
The final episode. There's only one more.
We're going to see the effects of that, and that's just, this next episode is going to be heartbreaking. Like, it's not, I'm not going to be okay. Like, I've never been okay through the series, but seeing these two for the last time for probably a good 2 years is going to be sad. And not only that, this episode's probably just going to be distressful as well. So, Layla, Jaden, going into the next episode, what do you expect?
I just want one nice moment. Please. I need one moment where I can be like, "Aw," and have it last, because everything nice we've had has been ripped away. There is some very specific scenes from the last chapters of the game that I want to see that I won't go into, but I need them to be there. Another thing I was going to talk about, which I've completely just forgot. Oh, yeah. The violence, this is kind of going off track from what I want to see, but I will circle back. The violence we saw from Ellie and the aggression that she had in that jail cell and in those last moments sets up the second game fucking perfectly, because so much of the second game is Ellie's rage after something traumatizing that happens, because obviously something traumatizing happens. It's The Last of Us. You can't be happy. And just her going on this rampage with all this anger and all this aggression, Bella just fucking proved that they can carry that, and they are gonna execute the second season so well, and I'm so ready for it. Anyways, next episode. Yeah, I just want one happy moment and some very specific scenes that are kind of spoilers for the game if you haven't played it or watched the gameplay, so I won't go into it. But just seeing Joel and Ellie, and I hope it ends in a decent way. I don't want there to be a cliffhanger because I might end my life. But anyways, and also Pedro said in an interview that it's possible that they could start filming season 2 this year, which might mean we get it like late next year, so we might not have to wait that long, but we'll see. We'll see.
We can only manifest it. Jaden, what did you think? What do you think is going to happen going forward in this next episode?
Kind of like what Layla said, I did watch the gameplay on YouTube, so I kind of have an idea of where it's all headed. And there are a couple of things that I do want to see, just because I know it would be performed really fucking well. But I'm just getting my heart prepared to be broken again for the 9th time. So, yeah, it's just a matter of time at this point. And then going into season 2, I hope that we see a lot more rage, because the way that, like, when we saw Ellie literally like cleaving this man to death, that was like my heart was like, I was like, there was just so much just pent up energy, because throughout the whole season she's been like, even from like the very first episode with Joel and how she reacted to him, beating that guy half to death. Seeing that and then seeing how she handled this situation, it was just like, wow, she's really come a long way. So I'm excited to see that be much more strung out in the second season for sure.
For sure. In this episode, you can't have a good hero without a good foil, and we had a great foil, I thought, in this episode. Scott Shepard, who played David, I thought did a phenomenal job at getting the creepiness out front,
Yes.
and like it was crazy to watch. Like he was so uncomfortable. Every time he was on my screen, I was just like, ew, icky. Like I
I
took
hated
Layla.
him so bad.
I was
Oh my
watching.
God.
I was watching and I was sending Layla live reactions, and the minute he appeared up on screen, I was like, "No, he's up to something. Like this man is up to no good." And obviously, throughout the episode, you start to see the weirdness. And you're like, "No," and you start to get more of those clues, and you're like, "Oh my god, he's up to something." And then when you get that reveal of what him and his town have been doing, you're just like, "I knew it." And it's like one of those moments, like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. You point at the TV, and you're like, I knew you were up to something, and they were up to no good. Troy Baker, who played James, was also phenomenal. I thought their characters were acted so well. I'm very excited about how well it worked next to Bella. I thought they had great chemistry working off each other, and it led to some great moments in this show. Layla, what did you think of the creepy Christian cannibals that we saw in this episode?
Yeah, fuck them. Like, in the game, you just know from the first time you see them, you're gonna hate them. But seeing Troy Baker back on my screen, he voices Joel in the video game, I actually teared up because Joel as a video game character was such a huge part of my life for so long, and just seeing Troy Baker back and being involved in this season, like, with more and more fans getting involved after the show and going back to the gameplay, just having him in this is so, like, amazing. And even though I fucking hated his character and he was such a dick and he, you know, whatever, I was so happy to have him back. And in the preview for next week, we see Ashley Johnson is going to be in the episode, who voiced Ellie in the game, and I'm so excited to have her back. Like, queen. And it's actually been confirmed that she plays Ellie's mum, and I just think that is so fucking perfect. And she's pregnant in the trailer, so it's just like she's given birth to Ellie in more ways than one. She birthed the video game character, and now she's birthing our Ellie, and it just actually makes me want to fucking cry because I love Ashley so much. What she built with Ellie was phenomenal, and I'm so glad that her and Troy are involved in this series. Like, I'm actually about to cry thinking about it. Like, I love them so much, and having them in this is incredible. Yeah. Period.
Yeah, seeing them back involved is is really cool to see. And they had the guy who played Tommy in the episodes in Kansas City too. So seeing the original cast from the games get their moment in this show as well is not only like
amazing.
Awesome to see, but it's really, really cool for the characters, and you know they're having the best time acting in this. So, but to go back to the point, Jaden, what did you think of this episode's foil?
Well, I was definitely given the ick very, very quickly.
Yes.
It like CJ was saying, like the second this man popped up on my screen, it was just like, I don't even want to look at you, kind of thing. But that being said,
So gross.
he did those parts so well. Like, I know that was the point. I know that's what his character was supposed to do, and he does it so well, almost too well. But it's fine. But yeah, it was interesting. Definitely interesting to see all that, and I'm happy we're not getting him again.
Actually, you need to catch up. I think he would
know.
love this show.
Would.
I do. Once I get the time, I will 100% watch all the episodes and just be in traumatic mode.
Don't binge it. That's my only advice. Please do not binge this
That's
show.
all I've gotten.
I don't think you'll be able to emotionally handle binging this episode 1 to 9. So
Please
you
don't.
might have to take some breaks.
No, because if you did that, I feel like you would be ready to kill yourself. By like not even episode 9, by like episode 4, you would just be like ready to be done.
By episode 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I honestly, thinking about shows I've watched, obviously stuff like House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, and like The Boys hits with the same like almost like unbingeability. But in terms of like trauma creating, I don't know if any show has ever come close to this. Like
No.
up ping pong off you guys. Can you guys think of anything that has like emotionally destroyed you like The Last of Us does week in and week
No.
out?
I don't
And
think so. No.
the games did. Like, that was why I was so terrified of this show being made, because I was like, I can't go through this story again. And I know they'll make it so much worse. Like, all the things they've changed from the adaptation have just ruined me, even more than they already did in the game. But yeah, no one's come close, ever.
I have to agree with you. And bouncing off what you just said, this was another episode that you said had a lot of influence from the game. Did anything differ, or was it mostly page for shot?
It was mostly very accurate, especially like the Ellie breaking your finger line. I was so excited when she said that. I was like, yes! I was the Leo pointing meme once again. Most of it was so accurate. And the baby girl scene, oh my god. It was incredible. Just so amazing.
So, Jaden, with 1 week left, how are you feeling emotionally? Are you excited? Are you thrilled? Are you scared? Or how are we feeling?
I feel every emotion you can possibly feel, right? I'm excited to see it because it's The Last of Us and it's such a good show, and Pedro and Bella are just so good. I'm also terrified because it's the last episode of the season, so it's gonna be heartbreaking. It's going to literally rip my heart out, stomp on it, and then put it back in, rip it out again, and then tear it apart. It's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to set up a lot, hopefully, for the second season, which is also another thing to be excited for, but then again, also terrified for. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and also not fun at all, but you know how it is.
So unless anyone has anything else to add, that will wrap up our Last of Us discussion. Episode
I just can't
8.
believe it's been 2 months since we saw
It's crazy.
the first episode. Like, it's just flown by. I remember being like, how am I gonna survive, like, having 1 episode a week for like 9 weeks? It's just gonna go so slow, the waits are gonna be painful, but it's just gone like that. And like, the last episode, it's gonna be all over next week, and I'm not ready for it. I'm so sad.
No.
But I'm also so excited to see this last episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be sad when it ends. Like, I'm gonna miss Pedro and Bella every week. I'm gonna miss Joel and Ellie. But the good news is there is a second season on the way. Just have to be patient. And patience is hard.
Is that good news?
I was
Is
just
it
about to
really
say,
good?
is it? Because my heart can't handle it.
I heard the
Well,
second was
well,
first. Oh god.
it's
Oh,
definitely
no.
news. We'll wait to see if it's good or bad news. I have a feeling maybe not good.
It's not good news. I can't watch season 2. No.
And I guess we're gonna go back into this, but the quotes that Bella has been saying as of late of how they
Yeah.
can't do season 2 without
Yeah.
Pedro. Be for real. Please. Stop
I
saying this
need
stuff.
them to just be quiet for a minute. I love them so much, but please, you're just not helping the situation. Like, you're just making me more sad.
Well, there's 1 week left of The Last of Us Season 1. We're not ready, but I hope you're ready to follow the Fandom Academy on all socials and make sure you touch that notification bell so you don't miss out on any content.
Bye.
You can find all the shows on the AOF Podcast Network, including Agents of Fandom, Ticket to Reality, Listen 3000, The Critics, and Comic Corner. And of course, you can find us on there as well. And I encourage you to check out the new AOF website. Garrett and Ruben have been working their tails off to get
They
this done.
slayed.
It looks phenomenal. And on that site, you can find the AOF store. There's so much cool merch. If you want to go straight there, it's aofandom.com. And there's a lot of cool stuff we have in the works. We have a bonus episode dropping today with me and Jade, who will be on the show next week, I believe, to talk Scream. So excited for that. But that is previewing this weekend's Oscars. So go check that out if you're interested in hearing us talk about how awesome Everything Everywhere All at Once is for 25 minutes with some nods to some other cool movies there in the way. But Layla, Jade, and Aisha, where can the people find you?
You can find me on all socials at FalconsNat. I have, obviously, my weekly review of The Last of Us is out now. I'll have my final one up next week, which is so sad. It's been so fun writing them up every week. I have some more fun stuff coming to the site soon as well. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope everyone is emotionally prepared for the finale next week, which you're not.
We're not. We're really not.
You're not.
We're just really not. You guys can find me on pretty much all socials, just jaden.cmduran. I know I say it all the time, but check out the Agents of Fandom TikTok. We do have some plans. I know it's been kind of dry on there lately. My fault. But it's okay. We're going to get stuff rolling out for sure. We're actually going to get clips out of that Oscars stuff that CJ was just talking about. So, yeah, definitely keep a lookout on that. And just, keep reading our articles because we got a lot of really cool content coming out. And I love all the stuff that my people write. And I hope you do too.
Well, you can find me at evanslarsons on Twitter. I'm mostly active on there. If you want some Chris Evans content, I'm your girl. I'm like the Chris Evans of like what Pedro is. I mean, what Layla is to Pedro. That's me. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for coming
course.
on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been a great episode, guys. Thank you for everyone who's listening. We love all of you. Even if we can't tell you directly to your faces, we mean it. We love all of you. Thanks for coming back week in and week out. And I can't wait to see you next week for our crazy, we got talking Mando episode 2 spoilers. We'll be talking The Last of Us finale, Scream 6, maybe some stuff that happens at the Oscars. Hopefully not another slap. We'll figure it out, and we'll see you then.
Peace.